Hello and welcome back to the weekly Q&A. My name's Lumin and right now I'm actually going to try and keep it down a little bit. Helene's in bed and I want her to sleep well tonight. I want her to sleep well every night, but tonight specifically because she really needs the rest. She wasn't feeling well. She did get some time in Guild Wars today, which is amazing. She played a little bit. She figured out that if she puts some pillows on her chair and raises herself up above as to not have her arms at an angle, so she can have them in a more natural position, sort of like you'd have a sling like this, but only forward, then it doesn't hurt her as much, and she was very happy with that discovery. So she spent a bit of time in Guild Wars. She told me that she got all sorts of amazing exotic weapon skins that apparently don't sell for that much, which is kind of disappointing. She told me a little bit about Super Adventure Box, which she hasn't started yet, and all sorts of other stuff. I also just made the Hearthstone beta key giveaway live, and people flipped. People are going crazy, and I don't know why I seem to have gotten so lucky compared to some others out there. I don't get it. I mean, I spoke to Blizzard. I told them, listen, I want to be an official Blizzard fan site. I'm doing this Hearthstone thing for keeps. I'm going to stick with it. I'm dedicated, and I'm absolutely loving the game. And they were like, well, okay, Lumin. You seem like a decent chap. Here are some keys to give away, and we're going to give you more next week and the week after that. I'm not used to wearing this thing around the house, so it's smacking into everything, and it's actually feeling a little bit cumbersome, but it's nice and warm, so that's a plus. And, well, it's incredibly handsome, yes, if I do say so myself. And I'm getting distracted. I was talking about Hearthstone and the jacket. We should just start on the questions. We should just start up on the questions. But before I do that, I want to say to those that are kind of keen for the Hearthstone beta keys, there are going to be a whole lot more of them coming up on the channel. And the ones that I'm posting on Facebook and Twitter, I feel so bad posting them. I mean, I posted the first one a few moments ago, and someone literally 3 seconds, and I'm not even joking, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, messaged and said, listen, I got it. Thank you. And I was shocked, because I was literally just lifting my hand off the mouse after clicking post or submit or whatever, and he had already typed that key into his Battle.net account and claimed it. Wow. Some of you guys have super fast fingers. I'm shocked. And I feel really bad for everyone that really, really wants a key. I'm tapping it into you again. It's the silly button that really wants a key but can't be in front of their PCs at all times. I wish I could have made it a whole lot easier, but I want to cater to everyone. So if this doesn't go down incredibly well, people are like, no, don't give them away on Facebook and Twitter. We don't want that to be one of the methods of distribution. Then I might just give them all away on the video next time, because apparently I'm getting more. Apparently I'm getting another 25 next week and another 25 the week after that. These are the EU beta sweepstakes. It's obviously open to both US and EU, but it's intended on giving the EU guys a bit of a boost because the US started so long before the EU. Anyway, you don't want to hear that. Let's get to the questions. Starting with a question from Alec Corvin. Dear Lumin, and this is an intense one, okay? Starting this off with something really major. Do you think that Guild Wars 2 could be converted to a more progression-based game? There's more to it. I just want to give that a quick sigh, because I don't want that. Tell you why now. And what do you think would happen to the player base if it were to become more progression-based? Much of the content seems to be for skins and other cosmetic items, which is a big problem for those of us that want to be able to show off the top stat gear or feel like we're making progress with our characters. So now, let me just address the last part first. To a whole lot of people, making progress could mean making your character look cooler. Progress. You could make progress towards getting the full set, the full visual set that you're going for. I can tell you right now that one of the main attractions, for me at least, to Guild Wars is the fact that it isn't as progression based as World of Warcraft. You don't have to grind your way up to get a certain item level, to get these items, to get a specific set. None of that. it is more casual friendly, while at the same time, the gameplay is still the kind of gameplay that rewards skill. And that's great. So good players are still really good. I mean, when I join an instance, or dungeon, or fractal, or whatever you want to call it, with a bunch of players, you can immediately see how good or bad these players are. So I went with a couple of Lumis and Helene, and we went along with one person who stood out to me. His nickname's Kaha, and he plays a Guardian. This little Asuran Guardian who firstly looks absolutely amazing. Okay, he looks like a little knight with his glowing armor, and it's all shiny and stuff. And he was in there, and for some reason, his character just felt like a whole lot more powerful than mine. Although my character now has a proper set of level 80 gear, so I've got a decent set of Berserker gear for DPS and stuff. He has his own set of gear there. He looks really cool, but he was able to carry us through some of these situations because he played as well as he did. Now, his gear was probably much the same as mine, or pretty much identical to someone like Helene's. Maybe it was more geared towards a tanking role or defensive role in the dungeon, but just having him there made me feel safe. Just having him there, I would say, ensured our success in some of the fractals that we did. And that's the kind of thing that can happen in Guild Wars. Sure, the same thing can happen in World of Warcraft, and it's much more apparent in World of Warcraft, but that happens in World of Warcraft when a character with a full tier, whatever it is right now, 16 set, goes and does a normal instance, and he's pimped out in his epic gear, and these mobs and stuff just don't do any damage to him. That's the same kind of thing, but it's only because of his gear. I don't like that. I don't like having to farm X amount of hours per night in a raid to get this gear, and then only to be able to have that kind of effect on a party. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying, but I prefer the way Guild Wars is set up because it works for casuals, it works for people that want to be really good at the game, and it rewards both, not equally, but to a great enough extent for it to be enjoyable. I feel like I lost myself along the way there as well, but I don't think that they should convert Guild Wars to a more progression-based game. You know, the kind of progress you could make while you're playing is, you could go for a legendary, you could make visible progress towards your legendary, you could collect all those gifts that you need, all the different materials and all that stuff, and when you get that, when you have that legendary strapped to your back, people are going to know that guy is pretty elite. Because legendaries aren't super common, and when they release new skins for the legendaries, new effects, new stuff like that, then it's going to be even more special. And that's what I like about the game. And now, you say that, what do you think would happen to the player base if it were to become more progression-based? I don't think it would change that much. I don't think there'd be more players, or a whole lot more players at least. I do, however, think that it could potentially push some of the casuals away. You know, if people start saying you need to have this, that, and that to be able to come with us to this, and that, then that would put some people off, myself included. And I honestly don't think it would work. It just wouldn't work for Guild Wars to an extent that they implemented it, or the way that progression-based system in World of Warcraft at least. So maybe to a lesser extent, you know, you got ascended weapons now, and I would say that having those would make you slightly more powerful, but only in some circumstances. Helene tells me that they're only super useful at the higher level fractals or whatever, and that's cool. So you go for your visuals, you go for the way your character looks, you try and make yourself look cool, and that alone should feel like progress to you. Myself, I can tell you that I am aiming for a certain look. I spent a whole lot of time in the mists looking at all the different PvP gear, because that's obviously the same as the PvE gear, trying to figure out what I want my Mesmer to look like. And then I made a little notepad on my desktop here with all the items that I want, the skins that I want at least. I don't really care about the stats at all. I just want my character to look cool. And I wrote them all down. I checked where they're from, how I could get them and stuff like that. And now I've got a list of things that I want to do. So I'm going to make my way through that list, collect those items, and slowly but surely build my character into the character I want. And sure, that's the kind of thing some people do in a weekend, or whatever, but there's a whole lot of other stuff to do. You can do achievements. You can PvP. World versus world, those are two totally different things. Jump-in puzzles, the live-in story content. Don't even get me started on that. I just think that a progression-based system in a game like Guild Wars wouldn't fit. It just wouldn't work, especially not because of the rapid rate that they're releasing these living story content updates at. It's crazy. There's always something to do in the game. And nowadays, they're putting things in that even the most experienced of players struggle with, like Tribulation Mode in the Super Adventure Box. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I would say, I don't think it should be. I'm sure it could be converted to a more progression-based system, but I don't think it should be. And I think that ArenaNet are slowly but surely turning the game into what they wanted it to be right from the start. Now, sure, some people aren't happy with the addition of the Ascended weapons and all that, and with the changes of the legendaries and whatever, but they're doing it so slowly that people will have time to adjust to all of this. They will have time to figure out exactly what's going on before they dedicate themselves or dedicate any of their time to doing anything. I think it's going to work. I think ArenaNet are learning from the mistakes they've made over the past year, and the game is just getting a whole lot better. So there you go. Skins are fun, cosmetic items are fun, and I like it. I really do. Mini pets, on the other hand, not a big fan. But that's a story for another day. Next question. This is from Jonathan Moderi. Hi Lumin, what do you think about the subscription fee for WildStar? Also, are you excited for the game? I am a little bit less excited because of the subscription fee, but I will tell you that I like that they at least gave players a bit of an option. The fact that they allowing you to buy these creds in-game that end up being, you know, your 30-day subscription, sort of like EVE Online where you can get the Plex. The fact that they added that is, in my opinion, great, but I think we're going to have to wait and see whether it's going to work or not. So I would say I'm cautiously optimistic about the subscription fee for WildStar. I get that they want to start it off on a subscription-based model because they probably need that initial influx of money to support the game, and that's okay. They might go free to play later on. Maybe that works for them. Maybe they just stick with it. I mean, EVE Online made it work, but EVE is the exception to every single rule out there. Said it before, I'll say it again. EVE is going to take over the world one day. EVE Online is evil. That game will consume lives. And I don't know if I like it. I love the game, but that game, wow. Anyway, did you hear they making a virtual reality simulator type thing in the world of EVE Online? They've already got Dust 514, now they're adding that to the original game as well. That's just crazy. I'm still excited for WildStar. Getting back on topic, I am just not sure yet. We're going to have to see how this cred system works, whether it's going to cost like a ridiculous amount of in-game money or gold or credits or whatever they end up using in the game, or whether it's going to be okay. Whether someone who just plays an hour or two every day is going to be able to afford it or not. Maybe you're going to have to play like 8 hours a day to be able to afford those creds with in-game money. Maybe at some point, maybe you got to pay for the first 3 months or so, then you'll have your character at a point where you can make enough money on a regular basis to be able to afford it, so it'll pay for itself. That would be great. I don't know. It's the kind of thing that I would say we'll just have to wait and see. You know, at least they gave players an alternative, unlike Elder Scrolls Online. Still excited for that too, but less so. Then, from Klebe, I love your name. I do. It makes me think of Heroes, the good old days of watching Heroes and actually enjoying it before it went downhill. Anyway, dear Lumin, I recently heard about and started watching a sci-fi show called Defiance. It was produced by the same guy who produced your beloved Battlestar Galactica. Ooh, I am loving Battlestar Galactica. I started on the 3rd season a while ago. I'm now at the point, and here's some spoilers coming up, at the point where, or just after the point where Adama's son, Lee Adama, Apollo, got all fat and stuff, and that was so funny. That was super funny. Everyone sort of returned from that colony on New Caprica that the Cylons were controlling, and they're just trying to sort of get to grips with everything that happened and their life back on Battlestar Galactica and with the fleet, and it's kind of exciting. It's also even more exciting now with Gaius Baltar being with the Cylons. Man, I want to know what's going to happen there. They just started torturing him. Oh, it's crazy. You're still thinking to yourself, these Cylons, I don't know, are they really that bad? Done with the spoilers. But back to Defiance. Have you heard of this show and or checked it out? If not, it might be something to look at. We watched the pilot and we were interested. Myself and Eileen kind of liked the look of it. We just didn't watch the rest of it because we said to ourselves, listen, enough is enough. We've got so many other series we need to get through before we watch this that we want to just do that first, and then we'll start on the newer stuff. So that when we start on Defiance, we are going to have a whole bunch of it to watch, so we can do like a Defiance marathon on a weekend or something. That'll be fun. But I do like the look of it. It is much like Firefly, a little cheesy here and there, and you know, some people may say the production value looks a little bit lower than some others, and they might be right, sure, but it still seems like it could be a lot of fun. The characters look interesting, the world seems interesting. I must say, I have high hopes for it, and I hope that I'm not going to be let down when I do actually watch a little bit of it. You say it's good, so hey, totally confirms my suspicions and what my father said to me. But my father is like a sci-fi junkie. He will just watch anything and probably enjoy it and tell me it's the most amazing thing ever. He freaked when I gave him Battlestar Galactica a little while ago. Man, he ate it up. My mother says that they weren't allowed to watch movies or other series or TV or anything. They had Battlestar Galactica. That was what they were going to watch. Episode after episode after episode. Whenever they had a moment, they watched it. He was obsessed with it. And I feel him. I really feel him. He enjoyed it. So it made me happy. Next question. Robname. Hey Lumin, I was wondering, I just heard Force saying that D3's console version has great reviews, and I know you're a Blizzard fan. Will you buy this? What's your opinion on the console game being different and good, and the PC guys being left with the same online-only version? Are you enthusiastic for the PC D3 expansion? Will you buy and cover it? Yes. Yes, and yes to everything. I am super keen for the console version of Diablo 3. It's not here yet. I can't get it locally just yet, but I'm gonna get it. Yes, for sure. I just wish I had it already, so that while Eileen is going through her arthritis issues, which if you want to know about, you can check my previous vlog out, it would have been great to be able to sit on the couch with her and play some Diablo. So I would have loved it like right now, but sadly I can't get it yet. So the second it's available here, I'll try and get it for myself and let you guys know what I think. I'll do like an adventure-worthy type video of it, of the Diablo 3 console version. But as far as I can tell, it looks like a whole lot of fun. And compared to the PC version, you know, it's much the same. And a whole lot of the stuff that they did differently with the console version is coming to the PC version. Now, if you're saying, you know, the PC guys were left out in the cold with the same online-only version, I don't know if I'd say that's true. I don't know if I'd agree with that, because firstly, the online-only thing, it's not an issue. It shouldn't, in this day and age, be an issue. And secondly, the whole new loot system that they put in there and the changes to some of the game mechanics and all that, that's all coming to the PC version at some point in the not too distant future, so don't worry about that. Finally, the only thing that I feel could potentially make the console version better is that Diablo is just, I suppose, the kind of game that would play really well with a controller. Now, maybe when they do update the PC version, I don't know if this is even possible, but maybe they'll make it compatible with a controller. That could be fun. So you could use your Xbox 360 or PC or whatever controller you've got. I can use my PS3 controller right now for games like Dark Souls or the other platformers and stuff that I did. Maybe you could use that in Diablo. That would be fun. That would be a lot of, like, a big change for us. But that is the only thing I see the console version having over the PC version that would possibly make it better. So if you like using a controller, then I suppose the console version would be for you. And I think the game, in its current state, it just plays well in that situation. It's the kind of game you can sit on the couch and play. Apparently it controls really well with a controller. I don't know. I honestly don't think that the PC guys are really missing out. It's just that the console guys hadn't had anything that good yet. Maybe the UI is a little bit sleeker as well. I had a look at the UI and I wasn't all that impressed. I didn't, in my honest opinion, really see much wrong with the PC UI anyway. So what the heck ever. As for the D3 expansion, I think that they are doing absolutely everything right with it. Sure, there's still no PvP, but it's Blizzard. They're not going to release it if it's not fun, and I'm all for that. I'm fine with that. They must take their time, make the game as good as they possibly can, make the PvP as good as they possibly can, and release it when it's ready. The expansion looks grim and dark and kind of hardcore, and I like that. I think it's going to be great. I will be covering it. I might even play through the original Diablo 3 all the way through it at some point to sort of celebrate the expansion's arrival. Because why not? It's a Blizzard game. I love the game. I didn't spend enough time with it when it released. So I'll rectify that. Next question. Mr. Minipinner. Minipin? Have you considered getting equipment to record gameplay from consoles? What would be the difficulties by doing so? Love the channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I don't know if I'd say there are difficulties. I would need some other PVR recorder or a capture, I don't know if you call it a capture card, but a capture thing, device. I think they make these ones specifically for consoles. Is it Evermedia or something, the ones that most people use? I don't know. Not entirely sure what they are. I don't think it would be really difficult. I just think that it would, however, be a bit expensive. Not something I can really justify buying right now, mainly because I don't, firstly, have a lot of games on console that I want to play, and secondly, I'm not that great at playing console games. Not that I'm good at playing PC games, but I'm even worse at console games, really, because I don't spend much time doing it. Now, when the PS4 comes out, I might change my mind. If I can save enough money up before it releases in South Africa, which I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. I think it'll be available here before the end of the year, but I'm not sure it's going to be available at a decent enough price. I heard that it's going to cost around 6,500 to 7,000 Rand here, which is the equivalent of around $600 to $700. That would be kind of ridiculous, in my honest opinion. So that's what it's going to cost here at launch. So I don't want to buy it at that price. Now, as for recording on the PS3, I would do it if I had the device to do so, I suppose, and if I had a game that I wanted to play. But at the moment, I've got my hands full with so many other things already that it just wouldn't be able to fit in that easily. But as I said, with a new console generation starting up and all these amazing games coming out for those consoles, it could be a lot of fun spending a bit of time playing console games. There are a bunch of people that I can ask about this. I've got a bunch of friends who record footage from consoles that I can discuss all of this with and ask for advice. So if I do start it up, I won't have a problem getting everything set up correctly. So there you go. Maybe at some point in the future, I do hope that I'll get to spend some time on a PS4 at some point. So maybe when that happens, I'll think about it. Then, Devolock J, what advice do you have for new YouTubers? Now that's to most, I suppose, a very straightforward question, and I'm going to give you a straightforward answer for it as well. I could talk about that for an hour straight. I've got all sorts of advice. I've made all sorts of mistakes. I've done all sorts of things right. I know all about it. My advice would be consistent. Don't do it if you don't enjoy it, and only put up quality work. I suppose there could be more to it than just that. Now, when I say only put up quality work, there are different types. There are different categories that I would slot things into. Now, you can't really, let's just say, you can't really categorize content on YouTube that easily. I mean, some people would consider Let's Play trash, garbage, the worst possible thing you could put on YouTube. Maybe they're right. Maybe some Let's Plays are that. But some others are pretty great, pretty entertaining, pretty fun to watch. And then a whole lot of other people would think to themselves, well, this is amazing. This is some of the best stuff I've ever seen. So it's difficult to say put up quality content, but, take that with a grain of salt and make of it what you will. By quality content, I suppose the easiest thing to just say is, if you got like the worst possible mic and when you're talking it's like distorting, and when you listen to it afterwards you can hardly make out what you're saying, that's not the kind of thing people are going to want to watch. Now, you can record gameplay footage, let's plays, whatever, with pretty much anything. I mean, you can get a headset for super cheap with a very decent mic on it, and that would be fine. But don't upload something that's just terrible and you wouldn't even watch yourself. Don't even bother with that. And only do it if you really enjoy it. I would say that the easiest thing is just say, be consistent, only do it if you enjoy it, and, have pride in doing it. If it's something you're passionate about, pour your heart and soul into it, and people will see that. Because if you are passionate about making videos, about talking about video games, about doing whatever you want to do on YouTube, it'll show. It'll show, people will watch your videos, people will subscribe, and that's going to be that. Be yourself as well. That's another thing that's kind of important. And I suppose that's pretty much it. That's really it. Don't do it just because you want to be the next PewDiePie. People are going to see the lack of sincerity there. People are going to see you trying too hard to be something you're not. Don't do it. Only do it if you want to do it. I don't even know where I was going with that. Anyway, Artyom Korovin. Lumin, I have a few videos back, you mentioned that you enjoyed watching the Game of Thrones television series. I was wondering if you had read the Song of Ice and Fire books, and on which the show is based. And if so, what are your thoughts on them? Much love from Russia. Wow. Artyom, I would have guessed that you were Russian, judging from the name, and I've only read a little bit of one of the books. I haven't spent much time with them, but I gotta say that the little bit that I did read was actually, in my honest opinion, better than the series. Mainly just because they give you so much more. It feels like you are getting a whole lot more, a more complete experience out of the Game of Thrones series when you read the books. That's just what I think. I do, however, love the television series, and after the whole Red Wedding thing, man, that was such a shocker to me. I didn't see that coming. I mean, I saw people talking about it, and I was like, well, okay, it can't be that bad. Then I watched it, and it was that bad, and then some, truly. But I think it's absolutely amazing. The books seem great, but right now I know that the series is going to continue, so I'd rather read other stuff. I'm reading through the Malazan Book of the Fallen series of books, and they are super, super fun. Intense. Difficult to understand at some points, but fun. Then, Cal Smith. Hey Lumin. Lumin the Glorious. Do you have any plans, or do you want any wedding presents? Because I have yet to make a paper bird. And I was also thinking about it. Oh, and I was just thinking about it. Sorry, I'm bad at reading. It's late and I'm bad at reading. Have a nice day and night. Warm sands. Thank you. So, you can send me a couple of paper birds as early wedding presents. Because Helene is still collecting them. The paper bird site has an accurate number of how many we've collected. And she wants more. She wants a whole lot more because she wants as many as she can possibly hang up to be hung up from the trees in the area that we're going to have the wedding and the ceremony in. And when I show it to you guys, you'll see our vision and you'll know exactly what we're going for with it. But for now, I'll just say paper birds are welcome. Send them, please. It's much appreciated. Then, Connor Sangster. If you went to a country and their first language wasn't English or Afrikaans, say Spain or something, would you try speak some of that language when doing stuff like ordering food or drinks? Or would you be too embarrassed to attempt it? I would love to do that. I would say Hold on, there's more, wait. In other words, would you try and get more immersed in the language and culture of the country you were in? Yes. I would say a couple of years ago I maybe wouldn't have done that, but now I'm open to anything. I would love to do that. Even if I spoke the language terribly and they got angry at me for butchering their language, I'd still do it. Absolutely. I also have a mother that does just that. She immerses herself in the language and culture of the country they're going to visit for their next holiday, and then when going there, she just enjoys it a whole lot more because she understands what's going on a whole lot better. She's able to get around a whole lot better, and in turn have a lot more fun. So yes, definitely I would love to do something like that, and I can't wait to one day travel again because, well, it's going to be fun. Then, Chris Starflamer, this is a very interesting one. Lumin, have you ever wanted to be a girl? Interesting question. And I think that's the kind of thing, have you ever wanted to be a girl/boy, that everyone should be asked at least once in their life. Some people will probably take offense, be like totally angry for you at asking them that. But I wouldn't. No. Yes, I've wanted to be a girl. There are benefits to being a girl, but there are also benefits to being a guy. I wouldn't say that I want to be a girl. I don't want to say like, hey, I would have preferred to have been born a girl. You know what? If I was making YouTube videos as a girl, and I was acting in the same way, firstly, just think about how freaky that would be. Man, just think about it. I'd probably be the most popular YouTuber ever. Who even knows? But just think about that, that's a benefit. People just by default want to see girls more in front of their faces, which I suppose is totally okay by me, you know. Most girls, in my honest opinion, look better than most guys. And that's not saying the guys look bad, it's just saying that I personally find that most females are more aesthetically pleasing. If that's even a thing that I can say. No offense, guys. No offense. No offense. But yes, I have wanted to be a girl. Not like seriously or whatever, but yes. Yes, I think it would be a fun experience. And at times a terrible experience. Because girls, well, they have to go through a whole lot of stuff that guys don't have to go through, if you know what I'm saying. Don't even think about childbirth. But whatever. Let's not go down that slippery slope. On rise. Hey Lumin, wondering, were you popular at school? Or during school time, like in high school? Or were you one of the nerds? You know, I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. I didn't actually go to high school, to a regular high school. I was homeschooled from standard 5 and up. So after standard 5, after grade 7, my mother took me out of the school here and she taught me at home. She was a teacher herself. We did it through Damelin or Intech or something. One of the two, I can't remember. I think I might have done Intech. My sister did Damelin, didn't really matter. But I did all of that here at home, and thus, I suppose I wasn't really anything. But I can tell you in primary school, I was very much neutral. A little bit of a nerd. A bit of an, I wouldn't say outcast, but a bit of an oddity, because I was the English boy in the Afrikaans class, all the way up to standard 5 or grade 7. I was the only English child in the Afrikaans class at the time, so, you know, there was that. But obviously I was doing fine. I spoke Afrikaans fine, it was cool and everything, but I was very neutral. I had some nerdy friends, I had some cool friends, and that was that. So there you go. Lumin was neutral. I was at some points a troublemaker, in that the teacher used to shout at me a whole lot for silly reasons, but they were silly reasons. I suppose she was just gonna have to shout at me anyway, but whatever. Then, Tales of Jason Fury. Another question. Will you do a playthrough of GTA 5 even though it's only coming out for consoles for the foreseeable future? I should have actually put that after the console question. Don't know why it's all the way at the bottom. I think I put it at the bottom because it was a request, and the next one's also a request. I would love to do something with GTA 5, but not before I have proper means of doing it. I have predicted already that what's going to happen is they're going to release GTA 5 for current gen consoles, let the game sell, let the console sell, announce it for next gen, let the game sell or pre-orders go or whatever, let the pre-orders for the next gen just keep flowing, release it for next gen, let the next gen console sell, let the game sell, and then after that, after all that hype is just busy dying down, they announce it for PC. Then once they announce that, the PC gamers will be all crazy. They'll order it for console so they can play it before they get it on the PC. Order it for PC as well. Upgrade their PC to play GTA 5 properly. It's like a vicious cycle. But they're going to do that. They're going to do it in cycles, in like first the current gen consoles, then the next gen, then the PC. And it's going to happen. It'll come to PC eventually, I'm almost sure of it. They wouldn't ignore the PC market for a game that's as big as GTA 5. It might be a couple of months down the line, but it's going to happen. And I suppose when it does, at least I've got a PC that's going to be able to play it. So if I have to wait till then, if I don't get any method of recording console footage by then, fine. So be it. But that's that. I would love to do something with it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to buy it for our PS3 when it comes out, mainly because games here, PlayStation 3 games here, are super expensive, and I don't know if I would be able to justify spending 600 or 700 rand on GTA when I'd only play it a little bit every now and then. We'll see. We'll see. The final question is from Martin Rijmarkers. I don't know how, I think I made a typo here, because there's all sorts of... There you go. That's more like it. Rijmarkers. That's his surname. Have you ever tried Splinter Cell Blacklist? You might like it. I have not tried Splinter Cell Blacklist. They actually offered me a review code for it, and I said, well, you can give it to me, but if you do give it to me, I'm not going to get a review up anytime soon because I've got all sorts of other stuff to do. Then they didn't give it to me. So I didn't get it. But I would like to play it. I played the first couple of Splinter Cell games. The very first one I remember being amazingly good and mind-blowingly beautiful at the time. It just was. My PC couldn't run it back when it released. I don't know when that was. It was a while ago. But I'd like to see how the series has evolved. I'd like to see what's become of it. Hey, maybe I'll check it out someday when it goes on special or whatever. We'll see. But that is sadly that for the questions. If you guys have any questions, be they interesting, boring, or somewhere in between, leave them as comments. I'll pick the best ones or answer them all next week. Check back here soon for more. Give this video a like, share it, and do all that other good stuff. Most importantly though, happy leaving those questions, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Happy that.